Good afternoon, I am Mr. Ish. You're joining me for this other video here on coin toss, specifically focusing on odds. The previous video we looked at probabilities with regards to coin toss or coin tosses. Here we will look at odds. Just remember quickly, based on previous videos, odds is always expressed as a ratio of integers, A to B. Odds in favor of an event is equal to the number of successes to the number of failures, or the number of items here which match what you're looking at versus the number of items which remain, or the number of choices which remain. Think of it as that ratio of those two, what you want versus what remains. So let's look over here at this first question with two parts. What we want here in the first question 1a is this: we want to know the odds of obtaining a head. We look at it again in this format. A, what we want is head. What remains in a single toss, right, is a tails, because if you don't get a head, you're going to get a tail, and it's going to be 1 to 1, and that right there will be your answer. The odds in favor of you getting heads on a single coin toss is 1 to 1, because you have one chance of success to one chance of failure. Now when you have multiple coin tosses, because this is what indicates odds of getting a heads and a tail, it's a little different. It's always helpful to write the variety of combinations. On two tosses, what are the combinations you can get? You can get an HH, you can get an HT, you can get a TH and a TT. Heads, 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 tails, tails, heads, and tails, and tails. What we want is an HT. What remains are three options. So think about it as this. The odds in the favor of you getting a heads and tails is 1 to 3. 1 being what you wanted, what you were looking for, and 3 being the three options that led to failure, or the three options that remained. So these two answers are good. Alright, let's look at these two additional questions. Two parts to this second question here of this video. What's the odds of you getting a heads, heads, and a heads? And you know that indicates three tosses in which you're getting a head successively 3 times. Again, you have to think about the variety of combinations, and you know you can get the variety of combinations as always doing 1 over 2 to the power of n, the number of tosses, and this is always a probability of you getting either heads or a tail to the power of n. When you're looking at 3 coin tosses, you know you're looking at 8. You focus here on this lower number, and that tells you that there are 8 possible combinations you can have. So what we can do, and you don't have to do this is just me doing it for this video, for this specific part, you'll have 3 combinations. You'll have a H, 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 heads, heads, heads. Then you can have a heads, heads, and a tail. You can have a heads, tails, and a head. And you can have a tails, heads, and a heads. And then we can go to the remaining 4 options. You can have a tails, tails, and a head. Tails, heads, and tails. And you can have a H, heads, T, and a T. And you can have a T, T, and T. You see you got 8 options coming over here. What we're looking over here is for this specific option. So we know the odds in favor of this is 1 to something, because there's only one option which will lead you to that, but there's 7 other options that won't lead you to that. And the odds in the favor of you getting this is 1 to 7, and this answer here is good. Now this other one is going to be slightly more complicated, because if you think about it, this little shortcut 1 over 2 to the power of n tells you got 1 over 16. There's 16 possible combinations you can write out as I was, but I won't write them out. Just keep in mind, out of those 16, you'll only have one of this, which will be this, and you'll have 15 which will remain, and that'll be 16 minus 1. One option is that what you want, and what will remain is 16 minus 1 of those options. The total minus the option you want will give you the remaining, and it'll be 1 to 15. So the odds in the favor of you getting this specific sequence, which would imply 4 throws of a coin toss, tails, 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 the odds in the favor of that is 1 to 15. So how do you really interpret odds? If you have A to B as your answer, this right here is my answer. If this number is small and this number is large, then it means that the odds in the favor of that event occurring are low, because the chance of failure is much higher than the chance of success. But again, if you have A to B and this number happens to be large and this happens to be a small number, then the odds of that event occurring are high, because the odds of the success or the favorable outcomes are higher than the non-favorable outcomes. If instead you were looking at the odds of this not occurring, we're looking at T, 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 and keeping this over here in mind over here, the odds of this event not occurring, you know there would be 15 options where it would not occur, because now you don't want the event to occur. So for you, that's a favorable event, and there would be one option where it would occur, because these two must equal to the 16 total combinations. Remember, 1 or 2 to the power of 4 is 1 over 16. These numbers here must equal to 16. In this instance, the odds in the favor of this not occurring is very high, and the odds of it occurring is very low. But what we were looking at here with regards to our specific question, this event here, the odds in the favor of this occurring was very low, and the odds that it was not occurring was very high. So you have to interpret everything here with regards to what you want and with regards to what I have over here. And that'll be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Have a nice day.